So, you're thinking about living in Colorado, but you're not exactly sure if its overall vibe or what it's got to offer? Well, today we're going to talk about the top 5 reasons why you might not want to live here in the Mile High City. So with that, let's get after it right now.
Those of you that are new to the channel, my name's Wes, this is Adam. We're part of the Living in Colorado and the Colorado Home Pros team at EXP Realty. And today we're actually going to try to talk you out of moving to Denver and talk about the 5 worst things about really the entire Denver metro area. So with that, getting into it, number 1 on our list is traffic.
Yep.
You know, Denver really is just a small cow town that grew to be the 20th biggest city in the United States. And a big part of the problem is just the infrastructure didn't really grow with the number of people moving to the city. And we'll talk about a few other pieces of that problem, but one of the biggest is just simply traffic. I think the average commute time is about 45 minutes per direction here in the city. That ranks about 17th in the country. And according to Robert Half, it's actually about the top 10 most stressful commutes as well. You know, light rail's a thing, but it's not fantastic, right?
Yeah, that's a stretch.
Average, maybe even at best, probably a little below average to be completely honest. So public transit isn't great. You know, the state's doing a lot of things to help curb some of the traffic, a lot of toll lanes, a lot of express lanes.
Yeah.
Not exactly inexpensive, but definitely helps if you're trying to get from point A to point B. Really, there's just a lot of people in a town that was not meant for this many people. So you just get a lot of congestion in areas. You know, here's a map of your average PM commute right here. And that's, I mean, it's tough. I mean, anywhere you're going in the city, you're gonna run into something. So that's why it's number 1 on our list, traffic. It's the worst.
All right, number 2 that made our list, and you know, it can be good or bad, but we're saying the airport. Right? We're a large city, but we're not close to any other large cities here out in the West, in the Rocky Mountains. So if you're trying to get to other places around the country, you're gonna have to go out to the airport and you're gonna have to fly somewhere. And the airport's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's, I'm gonna say, a minimum 45-minute drive, depending on traffic. It could be even upwards to an hour or more. Also depending on where you live. If you're in the southwest of the Denver metro area, you know, you're gonna have to go all the way across. So getting out to the airport, well, there is light rail. It's not always on time, so it's not very reliable. Not sure that you're gonna wanna chance it, so to speak. So you're gonna wanna drive out there, have enough time to get through security. I mean, what was it? 69 million people went through that airport last year.
Yeah, third busiest airport in the entire world, Denver Metro.
Yeah, so that can also add to the stress levels in terms of, hey, you wanna go visit grandma in Florida. Well, it's a 4-hour flight and you're gonna have to take at least an hour or so just to get out to the airport. So that's making our number 2 list, is the airport. It's out there, and if you're trying to get anywhere, you know, in the rest of the country, you're gonna have to jump on a plane.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you do want to drive, I mean, you take a look at the closest bigger cities. You maybe have Las Vegas, you've got Scottsdale,
right?
Probably not accounting for Omaha, but you know, Omaha's 8 hours, Scottsdale is, you know, 12-ish, Vegas is 10-ish maybe. So if you're looking to drive to another city, that's really not something you're gonna be doing either. We are kind of landlocked here. So flying's your only option, and the airport sometimes can be a little painful.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, number 3 on the list. Really, I have to go with the home architecture, right?
Yeah.
So I'm from, you know, the Seattle area. you're from, Florida, Dayton, my wife is from Boston, in traveling and seeing, homes across the country, there's a lot of character. There's a lot of towns, especially out east, and I think a lot of that has to do with the kind of the history.
Sure.
But you take a look at, Denver being a cow town, and there's some neat homes in Denver with some character. But when you get to the sprawl and really the last, 15 or 20 years of homes being built, you're trying to build those things as fast as you can and for as little as you can. And part of that problem is these tract homes they're tract homes. They're not, the architecture is average, below average, right? I mean, they're just kind of homes. There's not a lot of character with the sprawl that is the Denver metro area. You've got a foundation, you've got your framing, you got drywall, you got a roof, you got a driveway. I mean, there's not much there. And you can find homes above a certain price point where you start to get some character in, today's dollars. I'd say, $1 million-ish is gonna, find you a home with some character.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at the average price point home, which is $550 in the state of Colorado, you're going to find yourself in that style of home with just not a lot of character.
Yeah, that's for sure. I guess I'll just say they're kind of blah. Is that fair?
100%. They are definitely kind of blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads into our next point. So with, those houses kind of being blah, number 4 that made our list of negatives is the cost of living. In Colorado, you mentioned it, Wes, the median median price for a house is about $550,000, and that's about 21% higher, according to Zillow, than the rest of the country. So you're paying a little bit more for your home, and the house, although that they're nice houses, don't get us wrong, we've got nice houses here, they're just don't have as much character as you would see in other places around the country. So those two things really, the cost of living and the blah houses, 3 and 4 kind of bleed into each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other drawback here is, your average price of a home is $550,000, where in the rest of the country, the average is, I think, $425,000 to $450,000.
Yeah.
Well, part of the problem here is to get in, you're spending another $125,000, $125,000. Well, now you need, if you're putting 20% down, you need another $20,000 or $25,000 in liquid capital on day one, and you're going to be borrowing more. So now the cost of your mortgage increases.
Yeah.
So, to get out here it's expensive, right? I mean, there's a very negative drawback to the housing industry out here, and we're trying to curb that a little bit. You find a lot more building, drive to qualify. You find more homes kind of in the region between Denver and Fort Collins, and the region between Denver and Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
So there are opportunities. They're just not necessarily as close to Denver as some people want to be, which kind of goes back to the first problem that we went with is now you own a home, right? Now you're spending $400 to get into a community like Firestone or Frederick. But now your commute's not 45 minutes, it's an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, now you got to drive.
Right, there's this kind of give and take all the way around. So, so that's number 4 on our list.
Yep.
All right, last on our list, and it's not a huge deal, but it can kind of get to you, is just how dry it is here.
Yeah.
And there's kind of 2 things that come from it being dry. One is just the actual water in the state. Right? We don't have big water out here. Right, you've got smallish, maybe medium-sized water out here. Like, there's not a lot of it, and most of the water that you'd find on, if you look at a satellite view of the Denver metro area, or even kind of the Front Range or Colorado in general, most of the water that you see is we trap it. Right, we built these reservoirs to trap water from leaving the state. Mm-hmm. So you don't find all too many natural lakes. I mean, they exist, but they're really not big. You're not going to get into, water sports too much. There are communities and there are areas where you probably go water skiing or maybe kind of bigger swimming spots. But for the most part, you're not going to find big water out here whatsoever.
Yeah.
And the other kind of half of it being so dry is just your skin in general,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're active, if you do things, I like to play golf, and in the winter, I may go hit the simulator for an hour or two, and when I'm done, my fingers are cracked and bleeding.
Yeah.
Right? I'm wearing tape on my fingers, tape on my knuckles. It's just really physically dry out here.
Yeah, and I like to ski or snowboard actually, and getting up in the mountains. I mean, it's just like applying chapstick every single run because it's just so dry. I mean, there's like no humidity ever. Even when there's a rainstorm, I think the sun comes out and it just sucks it all out into the air. So it's just a dry state. No water, bodies of water, and no moisture in the air.
Yep. So hope you enjoyed this. These are 5 things that we kind of put together, 5 kind of negatives about the state.
Yeah.
So definitely something worth looking into. We do have another video out there about the 5 best things, and I think that you'll find that the 5 best things kind of outweigh the 5 worst things about Colorado, at least in our opinion. So there is a lot of great about the state, but hope you enjoyed, and go look for that other video on the 5 best things that we like about Colorado.
Yeah, until next time. See you around town.
See you guys.